Have you ever found yourself stuck in patterns that seem to endlessly repeat in your life? It's like being caught in a loop where the same challenges, the same people, and even the same obstacles keep showing up. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and powerful concepts of the human mind: how our focus has the ability to shape the world we experience. Throughout history, spiritual masters such as yogas and Buddhist monks have emphasized the importance of mindful observation. But this isn't just about passively noticing what's around you, it's about directing your full, conscious awareness toward it. With this focus, you gain the ability to shape your reality in ways that feel almost magical, as if you're working hand in hand with the universe to bring forth what you desire. And yes, this is something you can master as well. You might now be asking, how can my attention actually influence the world around me? The answer lies in the flow of energy. Everything in existence is made up of energy, and for things to move and progress, that energy needs to flow freely. When you feel like you're hitting a wall in life, or you're working hard but not getting anywhere, what you're really experiencing is an energy blockage. This stagnation holds you back, repeating the same cycles over and over. Before we go further, if this resonates with you or brings clarity to your own journey, please take a moment to like this video. It lets me know I'm on the right track and helps support the growth of this channel, allowing more people to access this transformative content. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Together, we're building a community focused on co-creation and personal evolution. Now, what controls this flow of energy? The answer is simple: attention. Wherever your focus goes, energy follows. But attention is not a single, straightforward thing. It can take on different forms like polarized or non-polarized attention, each affecting your reality in unique ways. Polarized attention is especially intriguing, as it has the ability to both attract and repel. Think of it as two sides of a coin. On one side, you draw in what you want, and on the other, you push away what you don't. The key is that life often responds to the emotional energy behind your attention, regardless of whether it's positive or negative. When you direct energy towards something you despise, ironically, you end up attracting more of that into your life. On the other hand, non-polarized attention operates in a completely neutral way. It neither attracts nor repels, but instead dissolves the reality around you, making it more fluid and open to new possibilities. Let's revisit a crucial point we touched on earlier: how our focus shapes the course of our reality. One of the biggest obstacles we face is that we've been conditioned to live in a constant state of defense, where avoiding conflict and minimizing risks becomes our primary goal. From a young age, we are taught to operate in survival mode, always bracing for what might hurt us. What we often don't realize is that this mindset keeps us trapped in cycles of fear, frustration, and anxiety. Think about what we consume daily: social media, news outlets, even the conversations we engage in. Fear is constantly being fed to us because it's a powerful tool for controlling where we place our focus. This is no accident. When we are bombarded with messages of danger or threat, our minds naturally fixate on what worries us, perpetuating those very concerns in our lives. Now, reflect on how we tend to react in moments of fear or anger. These emotional states make us highly susceptible to manipulation, pushing us to act rashly, driven by a false sense of urgency or self-preservation. Many people feel compelled to fight, sacrifice, or fiercely defend what they love, fueled by pride. While this may seem noble on the surface, it often blinds us to the bigger picture. When anger takes over, our vision becomes clouded, and the decisions we make are driven by impulse, not clarity. These intense emotions, fear, anger, and pride, trap our attention on situations we may not want to experience. As a result, many of us find ourselves stuck in repetitive patterns, like encountering the same types of relationships or similar issues at work. If you've ever noticed yourself making the same mistakes with different people, it's likely that the root cause lies in your focus. By concentrating on avoiding what you fear, you inadvertently keep drawing those situations into your life. If you're looking to deepen your self-awareness and discover practical tools to live with greater peace and purpose, don't forget to download my ebook, Divine Essence: Rediscovering Inner Peace and Spiritual Self. The link is in the description below. It's a key step in strengthening your journey toward transformation. Trauma is another major factor that keeps our attention locked onto past negative experiences. When we don't properly process a traumatic event, our mind remains fixated on it, trying desperately to avoid it at all costs. However, this very attempt to escape only brings it closer. This is where the concept of non-polar or neutral attention comes into play, which, as we will explore further, can help us break free from these vicious cycles. So far, we've discussed two primary types of attention, positive and negative. However, life doesn't respond to the intention behind our attention, it responds to the content of it. For instance, when we approach a challenging situation with a positive mindset, believing that the obstacle is an opportunity for growth, our reality begins to reflect that optimism. The energy aligns accordingly, allowing us to rise above the difficulty and evolve. On the flip side, when we approach that same situation with a negative outlook, feeling as though we're doomed, that there's no way out and everything is falling apart, our energy conforms to that expectation. In doing so, we unintentionally attract more chaos and hardship into our lives. The content of your focus determines what you experience. Where you choose to direct your attention is what defines whether you will thrive or become trapped in repetitive frustrations. Let's delve deeper into how our attention truly works. Life, in its simplicity, is indifferent to whether our focus is positive or negative. What shapes our reality is the specific content of that attention. If we view a situation as something that can benefit us in some way, even if it's challenging, the energy around us shifts. Our perceptions begin to carve out a new path, one that is more positive and aligned with what we hope to manifest. However, if we encounter a situation and immediately label it as negative, our energy bends to that perception. Out of fear, the mind starts to build narratives to justify this negative outlook, pushing us into a space where everything seems to worsen. This happens because fear generates a cascade of negative thoughts, which eventually manifest in our lived experience. At this point, it's important to pause and reflect. How do we know when a situation is truly bad? Often we don't. We assume it's negative because we are gripped by fear, and fear, as one of our most primal emotions, has the power to keep us locked in a constant state of alertness. This creates a self-sabotaging cycle where our negative thoughts fuel more fear, and that fear, in turn, feeds back into creating more negativity. Why do we do this? The answer lies in our biology. Feeling emotions makes us feel alive. We are emotional beings, and our mind responds to what we feel in our hearts. When we experience fear or anxiety, the mind springs into action, trying to justify those emotions, searching for reasons to keep the fear alive. This causes us to focus even more on what we dread, inevitably drawing more of what we don't want into our lives. This dynamic between the mind and the heart is essential to understand. When we feel something negative in our heart, the mind immediately generates thoughts that align with that feeling. And what happens next? These thoughts begin to shape a reality that mirrors that fear and pessimism. Suddenly, it feels like we're stuck in a loop where everything seems to go wrong, where challenges never seem to end. But there's a powerful way out of this: neutral or non-polarized attention. When we learn to observe situations without judging them, without labeling them as either good or bad, we start to break this cycle. Neutral attention allows events to pass through us without leaving a mark or creating negative realities. Imagine yourself in an uncomfortable situation, something that would normally cause you anxiety. Instead of resisting or reacting emotionally, you choose to simply accept what is happening without clinging to the experience. What happens then? The situation simply dissolves. It loses its power to shape your reality because you didn't give it negative or positive attention. On the other hand, when we resist past traumas or painful experiences, we end up feeding those events with more energy. The more we try to run away or avoid something that caused us pain, the more that pain persists in our lives. What we resist indeed persists. This happens because by resisting, we are focusing our attention on what we don't want. And as we've already established, where attention goes, energy flows. The key to breaking this cycle is learning to cultivate neutral attention. This kind of attention allows us to see things as they are without attaching unnecessary emotional weight, freeing us from continually reliving the same negative patterns. Now consider this: every time we resist something, we are, in fact, giving it more strength. This is a basic principle of energy. You exert force on something, and it pushes back with the same force. We spend a good part of our lives resisting past events, reliving traumas we haven't yet healed from. As a result, situations that reaffirm that trauma continue to appear, as if caught in an endless cycle. And remember, there are always two sides to every coin, and how you choose to view a situation is entirely up to you. The way you perceive an experience is an act of personal power. You can decide to see something as an opportunity for growth, or you can label that situation as an insurmountable obstacle. Either way, the choice is yours. Now that you understand this, let's dive deeper into how to use this awareness to effectively shape your reality. The first thing we need to do is learn how to combine polarized attention with non-polarized attention. This balance is essential. Once you master it, you'll be able to dissipate the negative energy consuming your focus, creating room to nurture the positive reality you want to manifest. There are 3 key steps to applying this technique, and by following them, you will see how the energy of resistance fades away. This allows you to direct your energy more wisely toward building the life you desire. The first step is acceptance. When you find yourself in a situation that feels like an overwhelming abyss, where everything around you seems to point to hitting rock bottom, the first move is to accept that it has already happened. It's important to realize that you cannot resist and accept at the same time. Resistance blocks the flow of energy, while acceptance creates space for that energy to move again. Acceptance is the antidote to resistance, and please pay close attention to this. We're not talking about accumulating energy, but about redirecting it. Your goals and desires are already in the process of manifesting. The problem is that you're often standing in your own way, blocking their realization. All you need to do is step aside, and it begins with fully accepting your current situation. Whatever challenge you're facing, whether it's a problem that makes you feel stuck or your deepest fear taking shape, accept that it has already happened. Embrace the worst-case scenario. Imagine that this situation has unfolded. Notice how life continues regardless. You start to realize that when you stop fighting against these fears, they lose their power over you. Many people believe that by accepting the worst outcome, they will somehow attract it into their lives. But the reality is quite the opposite. When you accept what you fear most, you stop feeding that fear with the energy of resistance. Resistance is what keeps those fears alive and recurring. By accepting, you cease resisting, and that's when true liberation begins. This is where neutral attention comes into play. Acceptance is the embodiment of neutral attention. To make any meaningful changes in our lives, we must first fully embrace the present moment. Accept reality exactly as it is, without trying to alter it. Only from that place can you redirect your energy to create the reality you truly desire. The reason acceptance is so powerful is that we cannot change the present moment. No matter how hard we try, the present is constantly in motion. The moment we try to grasp it, it's already gone. The present becomes the past in the blink of an eye. Therefore, we can't alter this current moment, but what we can change is how we react to it, and that shift begins with acceptance. By accepting, you release the weight of resistance and open up space for something new, for what you actually want to manifest. So, what's the next step? What's within your control is how you choose to respond to the next moment. Often we fall into the trap of thinking that when something goes wrong, it means we've failed. We become so attached to the things we do that when they don't go as planned, we see it as a direct reflection of who we are. But the truth is, when you fully accept the worst-case scenario, you take off the pressure and the weight you've been placing on yourself. Here's the key. By accepting what could go wrong, you immediately lessen the power that situation holds over you. And this leads us to the second step, realizing that a setback or an unfavorable event might actually be a blessing in disguise. Any event in your life is, by nature, neutral. It's up to you to decide whether to make it positive, negative, or simply accept it as it is. Now think about this. Instead of labeling a situation as negative, ask yourself, how could this actually be a step forward? What potential positives could exist in this moment that, at first glance, seems adverse? The idea of a mirror blessing suggests that what seems bad may be happening to protect you from something worse. How can you be sure this situation isn't the universe's way of shielding you? Maybe that delay, that missed opportunity, was actually saving you from something far more harmful. How do you know that missing that bus didn't protect you from an accident that could have occurred? The universe works in mysterious ways, and when you reflect on events with acceptance and neutrality, you may come to see that things happened for a greater reason. And before we move forward, if this message is bringing clarity or helping you reflect on your own journey, I invite you to give this video a like. It not only lets me know that I'm on the right path, but also supports the growth of the channel, allowing more people like you to access this transformative content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Together, we'll continue building a community of co-creation and evolution. However, I understand it can be challenging to see things this way when the emotional impact of a negative event is still fresh. When something bad has just happened, the focus should be on reaching a state of acceptance. In this initial stage, don't worry about trying to find the silver lining right away. Just acknowledge that it happened and give yourself time to process. As you gradually reach a neutral state, you'll begin to open space for new perspectives and possibilities. The third and final step in this process is to continuously redirect your attention to what you desire. Once you've reached a state of equanimity, where you've accepted the present and are no longer stuck in resistance, your attention becomes free. At that point, you can clearly and consciously choose what you want to manifest next. This is the moment where you become truly powerful. When your attention is unburdened by resistance, you become unstoppable. This process is what determines which path in life you will follow, which quantum event will unfold. Everything is directly tied to how you choose to direct your focus. This is why so many ancient cultures, spiritual traditions, and religions emphasize the importance of observation and focus. Attention is seen as the key to understanding and influencing the reality around us. What we are doing here is simple, yet extremely powerful. First, we apply neutral attention, which leads us to a state of acceptance. In this stage, we don't judge the situation as either good or bad, we simply acknowledge that it has occurred. Then, we begin exploring the hidden blessings, the mirrors that can show us how this event might actually benefit us. Finally, when we reach a state of equanimity, we direct our attention toward the positive, toward what we wish to manifest. This is one of the most powerful processes we can use to create the reality we desire. As co-creators, attention is the most potent tool we have at our disposal. The more we refine our ability to observe and direct our focus, the more effective we become at consciously shaping our lives. When you master the art of directing your attention consciously and effectively, the ability to manifest the life you desire becomes a reality. The core message I want to leave you with today is this: if you're feeling down today, allow yourself to fully accept that feeling. There is nothing wrong with acknowledging when you're in a negative emotional state. What matters is that, once you reach a state of equanimity and emotional balance, you can then focus on what you truly want, rather than being consumed by negativity. However, if you try to suppress, repress, or hide your feelings, they often resurface, sometimes with more intensity, and eventually affect you down the road. Resisting what you're feeling is simply postponing the inevitable. When we ignore our emotions, they continue to exist in our subconscious, manifesting in unexpected ways. Interestingly, even seemingly positive practices, like repeating affirmations, can sometimes be a form of resistance. In trying to convince yourself of something positive, you might be avoiding an underlying emotion. Resistance can disguise itself in actions that seem constructive, like telling yourself repeatedly, "I am happy," while deep down you're avoiding feeling sadness. The three-step method we discussed earlier, accept, redirect, and choose, has the power to profoundly transform your life. When you practice this approach consistently, not only do you release the energy that was being wasted on resistance, but you also begin to use it effectively, creating the reality you truly want to live. It's important to remember that acceptance doesn't mean surrendering to defeat. Quite the opposite, acceptance means acknowledging the present reality. It's in this space of acceptance that your perspective becomes clearer, and the path to achieving what you desire naturally unfolds. When we accept the worst-case scenario, we release the energy we were using to fight against it. And in that moment, our attention becomes the driving force to create change. From there, we can redirect our focus to what we truly want. And when we do that, reality begins to shift in response to our new focus. As co-creators of our own reality, we are equipped with the power to choose our path, to shape our experiences, and ultimately to determine our destinies. True inner transformation begins the moment we consciously choose to direct our attention toward what truly matters. And this requires presence, acceptance, and focus. So, move forward with confidence and purpose. Remember, you are the architect of your own destiny. Every choice you make about where you direct your attention contributes to the life you are building. If you want to deepen your self-awareness and discover practical tools to live with more peace and purpose, don't forget to download my ebook Divine Essence, Rediscovering Inner Peace and Spiritual Self. The link is in the description below. It's an important step in strengthening your transformation journey. If you've made it this far, it means you're truly committed to your journey of self-discovery and co-creating your reality. And that's amazing! Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep receiving content that can truly make a difference in your life. Now, to take the next step on this journey, watch the next video that's appearing here on the screen. In it, we'll explore more about spirituality and self-awareness and how you can apply these to continue your personal growth. Click now, and I'll see you there.